All right, so there are a couple of factors when it comes to why car payments are as high as they are currently. Right? So you have your overall credit score, specifically if you're in the United States of America, along with interest rates and the principal payment, right? The principal of the vehicle. Unfortunately, a lot of dealerships, based off of what happened during the 19, they have raised their prices, and they got so comfortable at those super high, over inflated prices that they refuse to actually come back down to reality. If you look at the MSRP on some of these vehicles that you're purchasing, they're nowhere near the actual price that's on the actual vehicle. Okay, and because people have generally low credit in the United States of America, interest rates are super high, and now you're getting, unfortunately, car payments of upwards of $1,400 to $1,700, depending on how fancy you actually want to be, guys. Right? We are in a time where everyone just has to basically, unfortunately, be completely fine with paying, $2,000 a month on a vehicle. Guys, I remember a time where in my head, I'm like, bro, $1,000 car note, $1,300 would get me a Lamborghini Gallardo, right? I'm just thinking about these things, right? And now the average car that people are buying is over $1,000 a month, and I find it absolutely insane. But all right, let's check it out. This is a suggestion via Discord, guys.
Car payments have reached record highs in recent years, and Americans are feeling the pinch. The average payment on a new vehicle rose 40% between April 2019 and April 2024.
Some people will look at this and they will say, are you kidding me? I mean, that's basically a house payment for a lot of people.
We always had this idea.
Bro, what house payment is $700 right now? Everything is more expensive, but yet people are not making more money.
Idea that a new vehicle was something that was attainable for every American. Well, clearly we've moved away from that premise.
Blame it on high interest rates and high vehicle prices caused by pandemic-era shortages. The good news, payments have dropped a bit and are expected to fall further.
Yeah, guys, unfortunately, that number is meaningless. All right.
We've reached a peak. We've turned a corner. However you want to say it, the affordability issue is going to get better.
The relief may only be short-lived. Longer term, industry insiders have serious questions about the direction the auto market is headed in. Vehicles were growing more expensive prior to the pandemic, as automakers shifted away from pumping out cars for the mainstream toward a strategy of selling fewer, pricier vehicles that pulled in more profits. Many in the industry say that might be here to stay, meaning a lot of ordinary Americans will be locked out.
Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. A work truck should not cost $100,000. It shouldn't, all right? It needs to go back down to something actually, reasonable. Let's say 40, 50 nowadays, guys, right? That I do think would be reasonable at least. But the fact is that all of these pickup trucks are sitting over $100,000, specifically the ones that you actually need. Not the niche ones.
Here are a few numbers that illustrate how tough it has become. Just 10 years ago, car payments were nearly half of what they are today. The average is $760 a month right now, but quite a few customers pay more than that. A near record number are paying over $1,000 a month and have been for 4 straight quarters.
The idea of you're going to pay, $700-800 a month for the next 6 years. I mean, that's just, it just sounds crazy for a depreciating asset.
Right. It is almost like borderline disturbing how acclimated everyone has gotten to the idea that, I've got 700, I've got 1,000, I've got all these dollar figures that other people will say, hey, that's my rent. Hey, that's my mortgage from 10 years ago.
So payments are high, and it's not just because of inflation. Car payments rose twice as much as overall inflation from 2019 to 2024. 2 things drove this: high prices and high interest rates. High prices hit the used vehicle market first, where dealers can pretty much charge whatever they can get for a car. But soon they made their...
And yeah, but here's the problem here with that is, yes, they're going to charge whatever they want to charge for that vehicle, but they're going to massively undervalue your trade-in. Keep that in mind.
...their way into the new car market, which was hit by a severe shortage of new vehicles and parts. As manufacturing shut down around the world during the COVID pandemic, shortages popped up everywhere. First of cars in 2020, then of parts like semiconductors in 2021 and 2022. With supply so tight and demand so high, dealers and automakers didn't need to offer any incentives. Charging at or above MSRP was common. anyone who bought a car pretty much at any point in the last 4 years paid historically high prices.
Right.
Those same expensive vehicles, though, live in the segments that today are experiencing the greatest amount of depreciation. So you might have somebody who really scored 2 years ago. They went to a dealership, they got a fantastic vehicle, good price, but now they've come back and they didn't realize that the rest of the market has evolved.
And then, of course, there are interest rates.
Anyone shopping for a new car is going to get a fair amount of sticker shock when they see the price of the car along with that higher interest rate.
The Federal Reserve set its target interest rate at 5.25% to 5.5% in July 2023. That isn't the actual rate someone will pay for a car loan or mortgage, but it does affect the overall cost of borrowing. Today, auto loan rates are just above 7%. In March 2022, before the Fed started raising rates, they were closer to 4%.
This is a significant jump. Not only are people paying more for their auto loan, but they're also paying more for the price of the car. So that combined higher prices plus higher loan rates makes car affordability particularly challenging for a lot of people trying to buy a car these days.
In addition,
nearly impossible.
Alarming trend has taken root within a segment of borrowers. Those who decide to get a new car when the one they're driving is worth less than the money they owe on it. Something called negative equity.
Right.
The average amount on those trade-ins hit an all-time high in the first quarter of 2024.
And that's because, again, everyone was purchasing vehicles that were extremely overpriced, and the value of the actual vehicle is meaningless, right, in comparison. So what you really want to do here, if you cannot afford to put at least, how about this, whatever the actual value of the vehicle is, you need to find this out here specifically, all right? And so make sure your loan to value, or LTV, is at basically 100%. And that's how you can basically avoid the negative equity in vehicles, or even ever being really upside down, let's say, in a vehicle, all right? If you cannot afford to put that $10,000, $20,000 down on the vehicle, the brand new vehicle, you probably should not be buying it. And I think that'll probably mean the same thing for the trade-in. All right, so it may just be better to actually keep what you have, more so than ever getting upside down or in the negative equity state at any time.
Almost 25% of purchases were made by customers with negative equity, nearly 10% more than just a couple years earlier. Rolling that negative equity into a new loan comes with bigger payments at higher interest rates over longer terms.
Yeah.
And trade-ins involving negative equity have only gotten more expensive over time.
What makes it worse, though, is you probably got a decent loan 2 or 3 years ago, right? So if you do have negative equity and you roll into the next payment, it's not like you're even getting more favorable terms.
Right.
Like, unless you get a subvented APR from the automaker, you're really compounding this problem.
And that's basically going to be like Toyota, right? Like, occasionally, Toyota will come out of nowhere and be like, hey, listen, I'll give you 0% APR. I got you. Just work with us.
Get a subvented APR from
But your credit better be like 760 or above. Forget about that.
The automaker, you're really compounding this problem. Because again, at 7-8%, that first month payment, that first year's payments, a lot of that's interest. You're not going to dig yourself out of this hole.
Not at all.
And finally, consumers want fancier cars, and car makers have capitalized on that.
Because structurally, the industry has been headed to this direction for many, many years. They've been abandoning many of the lower price points. So it's just all kind of going into the soup to kind of lead vehicle prices to be going up just a little bit.
Good news for the consumer is vehicle prices have come down.
U.S. production is back up. There are more cars on dealer lots, and incentives rose rapidly from mid-2023 to 2024.
You should be able to get a better deal now than you were, say, 12, 18 months ago. So there's some light at the end of the tunnel, but the payments that people are locked in on those higher priced vehicles aren't going away anytime soon.
Even if interest rates were to be lowered, there is a 6-month lag. However, in the meantime, dealers and automakers will likely continue to offer incentives that will bring those prices down. But different shoppers are apt to see different results based on their own financial situations or the types or brands of cars they are buying.
And so there are still these deals to be had. You just got to do a little bit more shopping, a little bit more homework, to find the manufacturers that really are trying to to compete
Work
quite
with us.
aggressively.
Consumers with higher credit scores may be able to secure better loan terms. So if you have excellent credit, you're probably going to do better than that standard 7% new car loan rate.
Oh, yeah.
Over the longer term, larger forces in the auto industry could continue to push prices upward. Just a decade ago, the average transaction price was $32,386, which was itself a record high. As of April 2024, average transaction prices were $48,510. Sticker prices are still rising, as are the prices dealers are paying automakers. Vehicles themselves are not getting cheaper. In addition, the White House raised tariffs on EVs from China to 100% of the sticker price, precisely in order to hold off a flood of cheaper cars from the country. These forces combined lead some in the auto industry to wonder whether volumes will remain lower for the foreseeable future as the market continues to shift towards serving upscale customers and charging upscale prices.
Right, and keep in mind, guys, just because you're paying an upscale price, please do not, under any circumstance, think that that vehicle is a better vehicle than a Toyota Corolla. I just want you guys to know, be fully aware here. Price often does not equal actual longevity or quality.
Are we going to get back to that 17 million new vehicle sales that we saw for 5 years in a row from 2014 to 2019? Or are interest rates and high prices going to keep the equilibrium level lower than it was previously? So are automakers going to keep getting more profit per vehicle, or are they going to try and gain market share and try and just move as many vehicles as possible?
Guys, I don't see much, help into the future, guys. I don't see it. But the fact that the White House has tried to stop other countries from selling vehicles here by basically doubling the price of the vehicle itself, making it way out of the range from taking over, at least, or helping us at least, guys, right, is a little sickening. It is. But all right, listen, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'll catch you guys later. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.